once those guys get back to work on Monday and
Yep.
and progress? What have you seen so far this week?
I think they're working hard. Whether we made progress or not, we'll find out in a couple days. Yeah, but they're working hard, trying hard. Yeah, the one thing I know is these guys care. So we're focused and working hard.
The defense in particular, how they responded this week?
Focused and working hard. Yeah.
What do you see on Marcus and his response this week after what happened Saturday?
Yeah, not really. We'll talk about that later.
Siler and his development. Coach Smith yesterday was talking about, again, as you addressed Monday, just a good game, not great. What are the steps you like to see from him and in the passing game in particular?
Yeah, we need to be able to throw the ball a little bit more than we did. But I thought he did some good things. He competed hard and made some plays, and you got to see a lot of things to get into a rhythm at that position. And I thought he made progress.
Is that mostly timing stuff with receivers or decision
Well,
making?
it's everything. Hanging in the pocket when he should. I mean, that's always a fine line with a guy that can run a little bit. To hang in there, hit a check down, or should I get out and get some yards with my legs? And I think a guy that's athletic, that can be a lot harder from a guy that knows that's not his deal. And so a real fine line there, and he's going to, that's going to be part of his maturation as a passer in the pocket, is to hang in there, know when to hang in and when to get out.
From a defensive perspective, Coach Cho said he wanted to get some of the younger guys playing in the first and second quarter so they didn't wear out Howley and Danny. Is that something that you have wanted to see and would like to see?
Well, I think Howley and Danny are playing, at a good level. I don't think they've necessarily worn out, but I do think it's important for us to get a lot of guys in the game and develop some depth.
You mentioned post game that you like Howley more when he's rushing the passer. There be any adjustments in that regard of sending him more, or is it too early to say?
We'll see. I mean, the position he plays, sometimes he rushes, sometimes he doesn't. I mean, what he does well is rush the passer. Not that he can't drop, but I think he's more of a factor and impact guy when he's rushing the passer.
And just talk a little bit about just offensively. I mean, you've kind of seen both sides of the spectrum. Do you expect them to maybe settle down a little bit more, and you won't see maybe as many extremes from one game to the next?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is, and again, I never know how these darn games are going to go, but I would suspect that out of this game, somewhere in between the first and the second game. I think Illinois is very stout on defense. I think the corners play, good tight coverage, and they're strong up front. So this is kind of a different unit that we haven't seen yet in Game 3.
And Coach Smith said that Siler came out of the game maybe a little more beat up than you would have liked. Is he okay
I think that's what he's going to be. I mean, you run the ball, you carry the ball, you run around. I mean, you're going to get bumps and bruises. I mean, that's part of the game. And so, sometimes maybe he gets out of bounds a little quicker, slides, those type of things. But when you carry the ball, you're going to get hit. So, yeah.
Does Illinois still line up in some of those crazy offensive formations?
So their offense is different than it was last year, but yeah, they're very formation oriented. They're game planners. They do a lot of different things game to game, and they have there's a lot of offense there.
They've had both fourth quarter comebacks to get their 2 wins. Did you notice anything on film between the first half and the second half, or even in the fourth quarter alone, that changed that much in their
I
offense?
just thought they played hard. I think on offense they did what they needed to do to score some points at the end there, and I think anytime you can win in the fourth quarter, that says something about your team, and they've done a good job about that.
Is there anything in particular that you've seen from their quarterback who just has looked very good?
I agree with you. I mean, I think he's a good player. He was a good player in high school, and he's a really good player now. And I think when it's all said and done, he'll be, one of the top quarterbacks in college football. I think he's a sophomore. He's got a lot of football ahead of him, and the way he can throw it, his arm strength, and all those things, he looks really good.
For like those who haven't seen him, is he a runner, a scrambler?
No, he's kind of a pro style, big tall guy, strong arm, hangs in the pocket. He can move, but their offense is set up around him, being a pocket passer, and does a great job of it.
Anything like what you saw last week, or just totally different?
No, they're different than the last 2 weeks. So, yeah. So we need Husky Nation loud and clear, trying to rattle that offense as much as we can. And like I've said before, I think noise is a tough thing to deal with over the course of a game. And no better place than Husky Stadium to have a little noise issue, huh?
Did you go back and look at film at all of West London at Oklahoma State? Did that do any good at
No,
this point?
no, we watched the first 2 games and what they're doing, and I mean, you know he can throw without question. So we study scheme.
And what about last year's film? I mean, with their changes, do you almost get more out of it for your guys and kind of what they did against them that was good?
Well, you know, I think you look at a lot of personnel. They got all the guys back. I mean, they really do. And then you see, you know, what's the same. That you're seeing the same from last year. The carryover on defense are, you know, doing a lot of the same things. But they got most of their guys back. They do it better. And then on offense, again, it looks quite a bit different with the new quarterback.
Do they also look like a team that's just kind of maturing in their system with a relatively young coach?
Well, so they've been there, I think, maybe going on year 3 here, and it looks like that. I mean, they got their guys in there, and their systems are in place, and you know, you look at them last year, what they did to the first 2 games, and to me, they look like a different team.
Is there any resolution at all on Derek Brown's suspension? Everything's still the same there?
Yeah, still holding tight on that. Yeah.
Anything on Perkins? Any progress there?
Well, we're still week to week on him. Yeah, we'll just see. I mean, he's close, so he'll be back in the mix sooner than later.
Is there anyone else that's a potential game time decision?
Yeah, we don't. You know, again, and it's not for you guys. We just don't talk about those type of things. You know, that's an advantage to the opponent, and so I'm not trying to hold anything. If I didn't think it'd help our opponent, I talk about everything. So the stuff that's something we don't talk about.
In terms of actually kind of the helping opponent or not kind of giving them an advantage, you closing practice and some still keep them open. Is that a your decision? That's something you always did.
That's my decision.
Is that why is it
To not put you guys in such a hard position. So you guys come out there, just see who's hurt and not playing, and that's hard for you guys not to do that. And so it just makes it easier on everybody.
And what about the conferences, the Big Ten conference's decision to their policies in terms of availability and players and things like that?
I don't know anything about the Big Ten. You know, I just know what we need to do, and